Hi everyone. Welcome to Konveyor community meeting. Today is January 11th and the first meeting of our year. Hope you all had a good break. We abide by Konveyor code of conduct, which means please be nice to one another. And we have one topic on the agenda. We are light on the agenda. This is our time, our space. So if you have any questions about Konveyor, please feel free to ask away. I am going to paste the agenda link in the chat. Add yourself to the agenda if you can. And I'm going to move on to the first topic. If David and Dylan are there, do you want to give an update on the Conveyor release?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I think that we are basically in a good spot to cut GA. We have one outstanding bug that is blocking it, which is affecting the upgrade path from the 0.2 channel to the 0.3 channel. This is because the default volume size changed for the hub from 5 to 10, and some storage providers don't allow that. So I actually was just testing a change for that this morning. I think we should be able to get that in today. So aside from that, I'm not aware of anything that's blocking us cutting the GA release. So I think we are in a good place to do so as soon as we get this operator bug merged in. I don't know, David, if you have a different perspective, but that was my 2 cents.
We made some changes to the workflow to include Contra in the pipeline. So we're cutting an RC4 to work through that. And the RC4 is also that's the first time we're cutting from the release branch. So just wanted to make sure that works before we try and cut a GA.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds great. I think then you're probably good to cut that even without the operator bug being merged in. If you want to go in and test that pipeline out, and then once we get the operator fix into the release branch, and you're happy with how RC4 went, I think we'd be good to go.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you for the update. And does anyone have any questions? Thanks, David and Dylan.
So RC4 gets released tonight, or
Yes, I believe David said he's going to cut it today. Is that correct, David?
Yeah, there are bugs in the pipeline right now that I'm trying to fix so that it actually goes through. But I'm pushing the button now. It's just I got to fix the things.
The machines have to cooperate.
and Dalan, you talked about Cantra, which is a CLI version. So that also gets merged as part of the general availability.
Yes. Yeah. So what David was saying, before we didn't have Contra integrated into the release pipeline. It was just in its own silo, I suppose. So yeah, when we actually release it GA, we'll actually have a published version of Contra as well.
Thanks.
Does anyone have any other question? Cool. Next one is from John Marcus. Can either of you provide an update?
I can just kind of kick things off quickly. There was an upstream issue that Marcus opened up about trying to, I believe, use Contra without actually a language provider. I think we're just trying to use the built-in stuff of looking at perhaps an XML, something that's kind of simple. So the original thought was, well, if we don't need, say, a .NET analyzer just right now, trying to something really simple, can we use Contra on something that's simple where the functionality is mostly baked in? So that was kind of the expectation. And I think what we hit is that there is a dependency right now with the way Contra is set up that we have to run on a Java project that has a pom.xml. That's my understanding of it. So we were kind of talking about this in upstream, And then we're just mentioning, hey, we could bring us to the community call, maybe open it up if there's any other kind of questions. And Marcus, please, anything you want to raise, this is a good time. We got multiple developers on.
Yeah, maybe I can give a bit more context. So maybe you remember me from September. I'm like the guy from Konveyor that is working with a client on cloud migrations, and also working in the same team as Gad, who is most likely not part anymore, but so maybe you will see me more.
Cool to see you.
Yeah, again, I want to thank you for all the fixes in Contour for Java applications. Like we had some issues there, and now I can say with like 3 applications, I had no failures anymore. So with the dependency scan. So with Java, we are like really happy with the current state of Contour. Thing is that the client has also many .NET applications, and I know that you're working on the .NET provider, but from the last status, I hear that it's really hard to do this at the moment because of the dependency to Windows. So that's why we were thinking maybe we can have a bit more lightweight analysis and creating rules with the built-in provider that is basically just, I would say, like regex matching or looking for things in XML files. And for that, like you wouldn't need a language provider because you can just write rules for the built-in provider, and that was basically blocked by errors in the Java provider. So when I wrote the issue, there was still like a null pointer exception, I think, in the analyzer LSP. That got fixed. So now Contour is actually running through, but failing because it can't find dependencies. So with the current setup of Contour, it's very focused on Java. So I'm curious, like what is the plan on, like, I don't know if it's like a auto detection on which language is the application, or making it like a manual selection of what language provider should be used.
That's definitely a good question, and we need to put some thought into that because, as you said, we were mainly focused on Java on this first release, but the idea for Contra will be to be versatile enough to cover different providers and languages and so on and so forth. But probably we were too focused on Java on this very first release. But yeah, we definitely need to think about that. And I think we have some Contra guys in here and analyzer guys in here. Sean, I saw that you were involved in that discussion.
Yeah, in fact, and I think maybe Pranav is gonna, I think he's raising his hand to maybe discuss this. We've actually been having a lot of talks in the past like week about after 0.3.0 working to move all of the providers out into their own image and rip out any Java specific bits that may have been snuck into the analyzer or Contra. Pranav, I don't know if you want to add some more color on that, or if you had something else said.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the auto discovery stuff. I think it's going to be a little hard on the discovery side when running Contra standalone. When we have the full portfolio in Konveyor, I think we can do something like that. But on Contra, I imagine it would be something like a manual selection based on. We definitely can do discovery based on the rules, but since you used built-in provider and not a separate .NET provider, again, it's going to be tricky to do that. But manual selection is something we can definitely look into.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful if you can just have sort of a flag that you can select which provider should be used, or in a first step, even providing your own provider config. Even though I think that's a bit complicated in Contra with the image and everything.
I think we kind of have to think about the UX around it, and that's why I'm not jumping on doing anything quickly, which I know is probably painful for you right now, and I understand that. If you want to get testing immediately, I can definitely work with you to get just like an analyzer LSP with your own provider settings working just to test that particular flow, to test those rules and start doing that while we make this UX good. But I want to make my biggest concern is that this moving forward, if we get more and more providers who do all this stuff, this UX has to be pretty solid. Otherwise, it's going to be clunky and hard for people to use. So I'm really worried about the UX of this. So that's why I'm not like, let's do something quick. Just hope that makes sense of why I'm not like advocating to jump on doing it super fast.
Yeah, I agree. Can definitely see that point. And for now, like I mean, we can work with this because what Kantra is actually doing is it's not fatally like crashing or something. It's just not generating the static report, but we still get the analysis report, and that's what we basically working with at the moment. So I think like you can also close the issue and work on an RFC on how to support multiple languages.
When we create the RFP, we'll go through if that's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you can definitely watch that RFE. And like I said, if you run into anything you want help, if there's something that I can even give you a hacked image, I think we're more than willing to give you something to get you moving. I'm just personally worried about the UX of this. So I want to make sure that we think it through.
So I imagine 0.4 being a quality of life improvement release for Konveyor. So the thing about 0.3 is that it has the depth of a major version, but we didn't want to go into major because we wanted to keep the 0. Whatever to keep things a little bit more unstable and have that margin in there. But considering that Konveyor is based off 3 modules, and we have rewritten 2 of them from scratch, this thing has been pretty major. So we are still dealing with all the turmoil and turbulence of releasing such a huge change. But after that, I think we will start rethinking some of the parts that we have, trying to improve UX overall. So it's definitely coming up. So if you can live with what you have right now, if we can get Sean to give you something in the meantime, I guess what I'm trying to convey here is that we'd rather put way more time into UX and polishing things out this time.
Yeah, thanks. And I actually the analyzer LSP documentation is like good enough to also work with this. So I also tried it already, the custom rule with the analyzer LSP, and that's working really nice. So maybe we will go ahead with that for now and not go the way through Contra.
Fantastic. Well, that's not surprised, Pranav. Well, cool. Thank you for bringing it up as a topic, and yeah, I think you'll be excited with where we're moving in the next couple months, considering multi-language support is kind of what we're trying to bring in first class. So, thank you, Marcus. Any other topics to discuss? Okay. Good. Well, I think we can give you all the rest of the time back. Thank you for joining, and we'll talk to you in Slack. Thank you.
Bye,
Have a
thank
good
you.
day.
Bye.
Thank you.